Hello, everyone, and welcome to Colombia. Bienvenidos a Colombia. I'm Carolina García Arbeláez, and I'm the co-founder of Myzelio, which is a one-of-a sustainability firm that is helping organizations boost the impact that they can have in the world. And I'm very happy to be sitting down in this panel with this amazing woman because I don't know if you have the same intuition, but I'm a firm believer that women are playing a crucial role in protecting Mother Earth and safeguarding nature. And here with us, well, three remarkable women. On the one hand, Fanny Guido, who is not only the first woman who has been leading the largest organization in the Amazon, la primera mujer en liderar COICA, que es la organización amazónica de indígenas más grande del mundo, but also fabulous Atosa, making the translation for all of you to hear it in English, and Angela from Natura, that has been always a beacon and a flagship of how companies can integrate sustainability. And this panel is quite interesting because we have somewhat unexpected partners or historically unexpected partners, the business sector, the private sector, and indigenous communities, and we're seeing how they can meet, where indigenous vision and corporate strategy meet. And I'm going to start with a hard question. Fanny, you're coming from a legacy of an extractive relationship with the rubber industry and your community with Toto in the Amazon. And you're coming from that legacy, and we want to acknowledge that. But also, that has been evolving so much through time. And now there's many opportunities for partnerships between the private sector and the indigenous communities to foster a new bioeconomy. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on how do you think that companies can work hand in hand with indigenous communities so we are really sharing the value of the bioeconomy. And before I'm going to quickly translate this question for Fanny, we'll hand it over to you and then Atosa will do that wonderful translation. So, Fanny, queremos reconocer que vienes de un legado de extracción de la industria del caucho, que fue una muy mala práctica en la Amazonía y afectó muchísimo a la comunidad huitoto y demás comunidades. Pero también vemos que esto está cambiando y venimos evolucionando y hay muchas oportunidades para hacer muy bien el trabajo de valor compartido entre las comunidades indígenas y el sector privado. ¿Cómo crees que deberían trabajar las empresas de la mano de las comunidades indígenas y qué consejos les puedes dar?
Bueno, muchísimas gracias por este espacio. Un saludo especial para todos ustedes de los 511 pueblos indígenas que habita la cuenca amazónica. Un espacio vital e importante para el mundo, para la humanidad y para el planeta.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. I'm here in representation of the 511 indigenous nations that occupy the Amazon basin, which is a vital space for life on this planet.
Bueno, primero quiero dejar claro que los pueblos indígenas que habitamos esa vasta región amazónica somos los dueños milenarios de los territorios y de los recursos naturales que tenemos en esos territorios.
I want to remind us that indigenous peoples who've lived here for thousands of years are the owners of the territories in which they occupy and also the resources that are therein.
Lo que no queremos es que se repita las historias de dolor, las historias de genocidio contra los pueblos indígenas por extraer la materia prima de nuestros territorios.
What we don't want is that history repeat itself, where in search for primary materials, raw materials, there was exploitation and genocide of indigenous peoples.
Bueno, como decía Carolina, el tiempo ha avanzado. Los pueblos indígenas tenemos el reconocimiento de nuestros derechos por nuestros estados, pero yo creo que falta mucho que eso sea una realidad, que se respete de manera efectiva los derechos en los territorios indígenas.
We've advanced quite a bit since then, but and that our rights are being recognized by our states, our governments are beginning to recognize, but there's a lot of practice that's missing. And in practice, the effective implementation of our rights is still has a long way to go.
Entonces, ¿cómo debemos trabajar en adelante con las empresas privadas o también nuestros emprendimientos propios que hoy estamos trabajando en el marco de la llamada bioeconomía, pero para nosotros sigue siendo la economía indígena, la economía de conservación, la economía para la vida, no para la muerte, y la economía que tiene unos principios como la reciprocidad, la solidaridad, la no acumulación?
So how do we move forward now working with the private sector and other sectors as well? In fact, Indigenous peoples, we have our own enterprises as well, and that we're really moving towards the Indigenous economy, an Indigenous economy that's in service to life, that's not accumulative, that's not about wealth accumulation, but it's about solidarity, it's about conservation, it's about reciprocity with life.
Y las empresas yo creo que tienen una gran responsabilidad de conocer a fondo cómo llega la materia prima de los territorios indígenas a sus empresas. Hay quejas de hermanos. Yo soy la coordinadora general y todos los días atiendo y recibo quejas de las comunidades que a veces la materia prima se obtiene con un pago mínimo que no garantiza una vida digna para los pueblos indígenas. Sin embargo, sacan su materia prima, o sea, los recursos naturales de sus territorios y a cambio no queda nada. Pero hay otras empresas también que trabajan directamente en territorio, obtienen la materia prima, conocen los derechos, conocen a los mismos indígenas y trabajan mancomunadamente para obtener la materia prima. Entonces, creo que es una buena práctica que la empresa conozca, que se haga la trazabilidad de los recursos naturales que sirven materia prima para su producción.
So here companies have a responsibility to make sure that the raw materials that are their supply chains not come from destruction or exploitation, that there are general principles around basically how you extract materials in a sustainable and regenerative way. And also how I'm the general coordinator of COICA. Every day I receive complaints from our base communities about how companies come and exploit their resources and how they often don't pay them very much. That the amount of money that they get, like nothing is left behind after the products are purchased. And that really we need is to have good practices, best practices around supply chain. We need to make sure that Indigenous people are properly compensated and that there is, respect and reciprocity in the resources that are extracted.
Thank you, Fanny, and thank you, Atosa. And I think this is a great transition to pass it over to Angela, CSO of Natura, because Natura has been one of the companies that first began working with the Amazon, that has great experience in traceability and creating shared value with communities. So can you tell us a little bit about Natura's experience working with Indigenous communities and perhaps the story of your very inspiring brand, Eclos?
So first, thank you so much for invitation. It's a pleasure and an honor to share this panel with such wonderful and lovely women. For those who does not know Natura, Natura is a Brazilian multinational cosmetic company, the largest one in South America. Most part of our business is based in direct sales. And within this model, we have 4 million beauty consultants selling our products in Latin America and 7 million people worldwide, which makes a completely different, how can I say, relationship with this community as well. But focusing on Natura development and regarding sustainability, in the years of 2000, we launched the Eco Cosmetic brand that is based in bioingredients from socio-biodiversity from Amazon rainforest. And since then, we've been checking the whole supply chain. So one of the things that's really important is to have a dedicated team to guarantee the whole traceability of our supply chains. So we have more than 20 people that are working on a daily basis together within these communities. From 2000 up to now, we work with 44 different communities, which encompasses more than 11,000 families in Amazon rainforest. And we have more than 45 bioactives such as andiroba, ucuba, Brazilian nuts, and other ingredients. No, specifically with indigenous people, we work with three indigenous people. The Deni in Médio Juruá, they provided to us andiroba. The Cinta Larga in Mato Grosso, and they provide Brazilian nuts for us. And then we have the third one that are the Araras community, that is from the terras of Meio Altamira, that they provide the Murumuru species for us. One very important thing to share is that in the beginning of this whole process, we used to buy seed from these communities. And within the time, as our demand evolved a lot, we implemented in the cooperatives, in the communities, small factories for them to extract or the oil or the butter in order to have a more valuable product to sell to us. And this helped us also to reduce our impact in the carbon footprint. Moreover, I would like just to share, I think, our key principles to have the relationship not only with the indigenous peoples to guarantee a fair and equitable relation, but also with the traditional families, no? So which we have everything in our biodiversity policy. So the first thing for us that's crucial is to respect for the rights of traditional people and communities. This is fundamental for us. It is important to have free, prior, and informed consent to work with them. Ethical sourcing and regenerative practice. So, as I said, we have the traceability of our whole supply chain, and it's certified for the UEBT, that's the Union for Ethical Biotrade. It's important to have lasting partnerships. So we are in this process for 25 years. You cannot start a relationship and stop after 1 year. No, we need to promote local value addition and decent income, human rights and gender equity in the communities, recognize the value of cultural heritage, material and immaterial, act always as a territory approach and easily accessible and reliable communication channels with the communities. No, and the last thing is that we always like to have the whole structure to work with cooperatives and communities in order to have a strong and well-established relationship with the communities. I think these are the key points. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. And yes, it is very important the role of partnerships, and indigenous communities not only need to partner with the private sector, but the role of multilateral banks is also key. And Fanny, I know that your legacy right now and one of your biggest achievements has been the establishment of the Amazon Fund. So before you leave, and I know that you're running for another commitment soon, I just want you to tell everyone about this fund and how you're mobilizing public funds to protect the Amazon. So, Fanny, sé que te tienes que ir muy pronto, pero antes de que te vayas, no quiero dejar pasar que nos cuentes un poco del Fondo Amazonía para la Vida, porque sé que es uno de los legados más grandes que quieres dejar en la COICA y que es muy importante que también la banca multilateral trabaje de la mano con las comunidades indígenas. Así que antes de que te vayas, por favor, cuéntanos un poquito de eso.
Ya. Muchas gracias. Sí, hoy el BIC y la COICA ha creado un fondo que se llama Fondo Indígena Amazonía para la Vida, para que los pueblos indígenas tengamos la oportunidad de tener nuestros propios bioemprendimientos o, bueno, empezar a trabajar todo lo que es la economía indígena. Y en esto necesitamos aliados, socios y no patrones. Eso es lo que necesitamos en adelante. Así que todos los que quieran trabajar y apoyar este fondo también, porque también las empresas privadas pueden aportar y apoyar este fondo para trabajar la bioeconomía en la Amazonía, que hoy está de moda la bioeconomía. Todos son bienvenidos. Y me despido de una vez porque tengo un compromiso urgente cerca.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. And Danny has to rush off to a very important meeting that's urgent for her, so she's gonna have to say goodbye. But really, one of the biggest things that she's trying to leave behind is the Amazon Fund for Life, which is a bioeconomy fund together with COICA and the IDB. And this fund is going to support the bioeconomy, the solidarity economy, and here to really support the indigenous economy. And we're inviting partners. We are looking for partners, but we're not looking for ownership. We're looking for allyship. And that really this is about bringing together economies that serve life, economies that serve indigenous peoples, and to find ways to work together in this idea of the bioeconomy, which is, of course, is the latest buzzword, the bioeconomy, really finding a way to have economies in service to people's well-being and service to life.
Thanks so much, Fanny, and thank you, Atosa. Let's give her a round of applause and go, go, go. I know that you need to. Yes, no, we stay. We still have a couple of minutes, and this is a really interesting conversation. So please don't leave me. I don't want to stay alone in this panel. But COP agenda is quite difficult. So we're trying to make sure everything works out. So I think Natura's case is very inspiring, and many companies that want to foster the bioeconomy want to start working with indigenous communities, and probably they don't know how. So can you share some best practices and also like very tangible actions or advice that you can give other companies that want to start working in an equitable way with indigenous communities?
So I would say we needed to understand what whole plays biodiversity on your strategy. So for Natura, it was always quite clear that was in the main strategy of the company. It could be an economic value. No, so by saying that, I think this is the first point of view. The second part is that you needed to understand what are your whole supply chain, understand the impacts and the impacts and dependencies that you are going to have in each place, that you are going to work with, to understand quite well which are the legislation and the regulations that we have for a specific country and how to deal and to start the relationship with these communities, not just for indigenous, but also for the traditional communities. It is important, So as I said, for me, the free, prior, and informed consent is something quite crucial to start this relationship. And before starting, having quite clear the impact that you're having in these communities. So it gotta be a long-term relationship. Otherwise, you're going to get them frustrated. And we need to understand the real impact that a company can have in a territory. I think this is super important. What else? I think so. I said about long relationship, the impact of the economic impact. Then capacitation, it's important, really important. So to have a dedicated team together and being with frequency in these communities, it is important to guarantee that you are not going to have problems with traceability, problems with slavery, all kind of critical problems you can have in any kind of supply chain that everybody knows. No, and for me to guarantee that it is a stronger relationship, you trust in the community and they trust on you. So besides that, we have all the challenges. No, it's not. It's easy to come here and to say the story after 25 years, but we need to understand that during these 25 years, we have lots of constraints and difficulties as well. So working the Amazon rainforest region is not easy. We have huge costs regarding all the logistic aspects of this region to send the product, for example, from the Amazon to São Paulo. It's not a simple logistic one. I think we still are struggling with the financial, how to financing the nature positive solutions. So we are just on the way to, for example, scale up the agroforest system for palm oil dende. And we need to have money to invest and to transform this agroforest system. You can regenerate the forest, so it's a huge transformation of this business. But we needed to find ways to tackle this. So I'd say that.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you for the great advice. And I will encourage everyone to continue the conversation. Reach out to Angela, reach out to Char from her team. She's here as well. And we will continue this very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Bloom.
Thank you.